A few $1,000s against 6 million. That is the math. A guided anti-tank missile costing a tiny fraction of its target, fired at a Merkava worth millions and far harder to replace than the missile that hit it. And according to Hezbollah-aligned media, that math has been repeated roughly 100 times in 15 days. Hezbollah claims to have knocked out around 100 Israeli Merkava tanks since March 2nd along the Lebanese border and into northern Israel. The number comes from Press TV and Hezbollah's own battlefield reporting. It has not been independently verified. Israel has not released its own armor loss figures. But the claim, even if inflated, points to something the IDF cannot dismiss. The ground campaign in southern Lebanon is costing armor at a rate that no military budget accounts for when the enemy's weapon costs a fraction of a percent of the target it destroys. The pace accelerated on March 25th. Hezbollah claimed 21 Merkava tanks were hit and disabled across multiple fronts in southern Lebanon and northern Israel in a single 24-hour period. By the morning of March 26th, Hezbollah was reporting direct hits on at least 20 more. Press TV labeled the events a Merkava massacre, a phrase that traveled fast through regional coverage and landed in a place Israel has been before. The term is not new. It goes back to the 2006 war when Hezbollah ambushes inflicted serious tank losses and helped turn Israel's ground push into one of the war's defining failures, even if the exact figures remain disputed. 20 years later, Hezbollah is using the same phrase. Whether the battlefield results match the 2006 original is a question only verified loss data can answer. But the narrative match is deliberate. Hezbollah's March 26th wave of strikes, according to its own reporting, targeted tanks spread across several locations. In Debil, 3 tanks were struck with guided anti-tank missiles, according to Hezbollah's account. 3 more were hit using attack drones in nearby areas. In Taiba, nearly a dozen Merkavas were said to have been struck with guided missiles. 4 more were hit near Deir Syrian, and another was destroyed on the Taiba Alcantara road. The geographic spread tells a story even before the damage is confirmed. These are not concentrated strikes on a single column. They are dispersed ambushes across a wide operational front, suggesting either a network of pre-positioned teams or a mobile force capable of setting up kill zones faster than the IDF can clear them. The battlefield has width, and width is what bleeds an advancing force that expected to control the terrain in days. The cost asymmetry is the structural problem Israel cannot solve with tactics. Each Merkava Mark IV is among the most heavily armored battle tanks in the world. It carries reactive armor, a trophy active protection system, and a 4-person crew. It costs millions of dollars. The guided missiles Hezbollah uses to disable or destroy them cost a few thousand each. Some appear to be Russian-made Kornet systems or Iranian-made variants, while others are presented by Hezbollah and allied media as locally produced. The ratio is roughly 1,000 to 1. For every Merkava reportedly disabled or destroyed, Israel risks losing millions in hardware, scarce replacement time, and a 4-man crew. For every missile fired, Hezbollah loses an amount that would not cover a month's rent in Beirut. That equation does not improve with time, it worsens, because missiles are faster to produce than tanks. And Hezbollah, by its own account, has more missiles than Israel has Merkavas. The human cost arrived with a name. Sergeant Aviad Elchan Valansky, 21, a tank crewman from Jerusalem serving in the 77th Battalion of the Armored Corps, was killed when Hezbollah fired anti-tank missiles at his unit in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military said the first missile was intercepted by the tank's active defense system. The second struck the unit, killing Valansky and wounding 4 of his comrades. He is the 4th Israeli soldier killed in the ground offensive against Hezbollah. The detail about the first missile being intercepted matters. The trophy system is designed to neutralize incoming projectiles. It worked on the first shot. Hezbollah fired a second. The incident suggests Hezbollah is trying to saturate active defenses with rapid follow-up fire, turning a successful first interception into a narrow survival window. The tactic is not new, but the consistency of execution across multiple reported ambush sites suggests it is becoming a deliberate approach. The tank campaign is part of a larger operational tempo. Iran-aligned reporting said Hezbollah claimed 87 operations in 24 hours, a record by its own count, though no independent tally has confirmed it. The operations use a mix of missiles, drones, and ground-level assaults. The variety matters because each category forces Israel to defend differently. Missiles require Iron Dome and David's Sling. Drones require short-range air defense and electronic warfare. Ground assaults require infantry, and anti-tank ambushes require clearing operations that expose the very vehicles the ambushes are designed to destroy. Hezbollah is not fighting one war. It is fighting 4 overlapping wars simultaneously, each one designed to stretch a different layer of Israel's defense architecture until one of them breaks. Israel's response has been escalation. Defense Minister Katz threatened to apply what he called the Gaza model in Lebanon, referring to the razing of residential areas from which Hezbollah operates. Israel destroyed a key bridge connecting southern Lebanon to the rest of the country. The Lebanese government says more than 1,000 people have been killed and over 1 million displaced since the campaign intensified. The ground operation is now consuming resources that were supposed to be reserved for the Iran campaign. Every Merkava deployed in Lebanon is a Merkava not available for other fronts. Every artillery round fired at a Hezbollah position is a round not aimed at an Iranian target. The war Israel is fighting against Hezbollah is not a sideshow. It is a second war running in parallel, with its own casualty count, its own logistics chain, and its own political pressure inside a country that is also absorbing missile fire from Iran. The 2006 comparison is the one Israel does not want to hear. In that war, a small Hezbollah unit ambushed an Israeli armored column and destroyed enough tanks to force a reassessment of the entire ground campaign. The ambush demonstrated that heavy armor, no matter how advanced, is vulnerable in close terrain against a force that knows the ground and has the right weapons. Israel withdrew. The war ended with a UN resolution, not a military victory. 20 years later, the terrain is the same. The weapons are better. The active protection systems are more advanced. But the fundamental equation has not changed. A tank in a valley is a target, and the missile that kills it costs less than the fuel in its tank. Hezbollah knows this. The phrase Merkava massacre is not just a description of what happened, it is a reminder of what happened next. Israel withdrew, and 20 years later, the army is back in the same valleys, facing the same enemy, losing the same type of vehicle to the same type of weapon. The only thing that has changed is the scale of the claim. The pressure on Israel is not limited to Lebanon. Multiple reports suggest Yemen's Ansar Allah movement, the Houthis, is prepared to escalate its involvement in the broader war. The Houthis have already demonstrated their ability to disrupt Red Sea shipping, sinking commercial vessels and forcing global trade to reroute around Africa. Reuters says the Houthis are ready to strike the Bab el-Mandeb route again if needed, raising the risk of a new maritime shock at the choke point connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. If the Houthis close Bab el-Mandeb, while Iran continues to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, 2 of the world's most critical maritime passages would be under simultaneous threat. The economic pressure that calculation produces is not theoretical. It is priced into every barrel of oil and every container ship insurance premium on the planet right now. Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb. One controls Persian Gulf oil exports, the other controls Red Sea transit to the Suez Canal. Together, they handle a significant share of global energy and commercial shipping. Iran has already partially closed Hormuz. The Houthis have already proven they can shut down Red Sea lanes. If both are disrupted at once, the only alternative route for Middle Eastern oil is around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks and billions in costs to every shipment. The Houthis sank the cargo vessel Eternity Sea after a sea drone and speedboat attack, and days earlier hit the Magic Seas in the same renewed Red Sea campaign. Both were heading for the Suez Canal. Both ended on the bottom of the Red Sea. The capability is not speculative, it has been demonstrated, and the Houthis are now signaling they are ready to use it again, this time as part of a coordinated regional war. 2 straits. 2 aligned forces, 1 war. The maritime dimension of this conflict is no longer a secondary concern. It is a pressure multiplier that touches every economy on Earth. Step back. 100 tanks claimed destroyed in 15 days, 21 in a single day. A soldier killed when the second missile beat the active defense. $6 million against a few thousand. A ground campaign that is consuming armor faster than it can be replaced. A defense minister threatening to raise southern Lebanon, over 1 million people displaced, and a phrase from 2006 that Israel thought it had buried, now circulating again across every screen in the region. The tank is the symbol of conventional military dominance. It is the vehicle that says, "We control this ground." Every Merkava that burns on a Lebanese road says something different. It says the ground is contested, and the people contesting it have figured out the math. 1,000 missiles against a fleet of $6 million machines, a 21-year-old sergeant killed by the second shot, a phrase from a war that ended in withdrawal, and a region where 2 maritime choke points are now under simultaneous threat from forces aligned with the same country Israel is at war with. The war in Lebanon is not a distraction from the war with Iran. It is the war with Iran, fought at close range, with guided missiles that cost less than the trophy systems designed to stop them. Subscribe